All right, I think it is time to start taking questions from y'all. Let's see here. Where are we? There are some amazing questions, by the way. Thank you for the submitted questions. I was going over some of them briefly before the live stream, some ones we'd already pulled out, and just really exciting. There's some stuff I'm looking forward to chatting about here. So the first question is, James Catania asked, do you wish you had been part of the prop department for the Star Wars last franchise, or your time there, or is your time there fond enough of a memory? Look, I would have loved to have worked in the prop department on any big science fiction movie that I really like, whether it's The Matrix or the Star Wars films, Ghostbusters. You know, that is absolutely a place that I never applied my skill on live action props in the film industry. I did some live action props for the commercial industry, but not for films. And here's something I want to say is the kind of building that I love to do, it doesn't really work in a film prop department. It sort of works, but how do I say this? Look, a prop master's job on a film is a freaking nightmare. It is a really, really hard job in which the perfect is the enemy of the done every second of the day. And the kind of loving attention I give to my pieces where, like, you know, when my alien suit was here and I just finished it, I came in for a month, like 30 days, every morning with a cup of coffee and spilled some on it and weathered it and brought it down. None of that happens in a prop department. In a prop department, it is like, we need one of these right now. Okay, I brought it. Should I weather it? No, weather it now. Go good. Take. And like everything's happened. It's like a freight train. And everyone I know who is a prop master, it is thankless and exhausting work. And they do incredible stuff with it. But frankly, it's like, it's way less. It's way more stressful than the kind of stuff that I do here. So part of me is like, I'm fine not having done that on set. Also, when you're a prop department for a live action film, you know, you've hired people to build these things. They have electronics, they have mechanical components, but no one cares who built that stuff. You're the prop master. If it doesn't work, it's on you. So the amount of stress that a prop department takes, people like my friend Ben Eady on Afterlife or Doug Harlecker on 2049, the amount of stress that those folks eat as the supervisors of this, as the business end of the film's execution, again, it is super, super stressful. So part of me says yes. Part of me feels like, no, I'm just fine not having serviced. Because the other thing that you don't know is how destructive actors can be. It's not on purpose, and they're not being willful about it. But having done props for theater, and I did props for theater for years. I was a day player at Berkeley Repertory Theater for a couple of years, and I did props for Beach Blanket Babylon and a bunch of other theaters in the early 90s in San Francisco. And I can tell you, you could weld something out of 1/4-inch steel plate that is a prop that gets handled every night and hand it to the 5'2", 98-pound actress that's going to use it every night. And I'm positive that a week later, she's going to come to you with a part that's broken in half and go, I don't know how it happened. It is mind-blowing. It is like when you hand a theater actor a prop, they become an X-Men, and they just like everything they do just starts to destroy that prop. It's astounding how much damage actors can do to props. Seriously. Yeah, no, they're prop makers and prop masters all around the world watching this going, oh yeah, so much like this. All that being said, I would, of course, love to have contributed a beautiful prop to a great film franchise that I like. 100%. And who's to say it won't happen? It might happen in the future. Hope springs eternal, and it is still something that's on my bucket list. So, you know, we'll see. That is a terrific question, though. Great question. Steamworks asks, is there a Star Wars film or scene in the series you didn't work on, but wish you had? Oh. Well, look, I wish I had been a stormtrooper in one of the Star Wars films. I almost played Jango Fett's hand in episode 2. There's a close-up during one of the space battles in which Jango Fett flips a switch to turn on... Hold on just a second. Sorry about that. That was Thing 2 has stopped by to give Maggie a walk. I think she's, you know where she is. And the leash should be up front. So, I would have loved to have been a stormtrooper in one of the films. And like I said, I almost played Jango Fett. We were doing a scene, shooting on one of the smaller sound stages. And they asked me, because like they doled this out, right? Like they tried to spread it out so that every model maker, if there was an extra needed, that they got this sort of perk, and it was, you know, it was delightful. I have friends that played many different Star Wars characters through the films, and you know, on this case, I think it was Steve Gawley that came to me, or Brian Gurnan, and said, "You could play Jango's hand." I was like, "Yes." We got on set, and John Knoll comes in, and Knoll looks at the shot, and he says, "The problem is, Jango just flips a switch, and if this is like a missile that he's releasing, shouldn't have a secondary protection." And they make these. They make switches with a hood that you have to lift in order to flip the switch. But John wanted like a futuristic Star Wars type version of this. And they said, apparently, if you want it done before we have to do the shot today, we're just going to have to ask someone like Adam to do it because he's fast. And so then John comes to me and he says, "I need you to build this switch for me, but it means you won't be able to play Jango's hand." And I said, "Whatever you need, boss," because that's the film ethos. And I went and I built this little protected switch cover for the thing. I think in 90 minutes. I think 90 minutes I had it back on set, ready to implement, but sadly, it meant I didn't get to play Jango's hand. T-Rex22 asks, what is a Star Wars prop, which is less well known, that you have planned to build or get your hands on in the future, but have not yet found the time to do so? Okay, you've asked several questions here. It's not specifically a Star Wars prop, but it's a less well-known prop. So that's an interesting question. I love Saul Guerrero's costume. I love Saul Guerrero's entire costume in Rogue One. Actually, I loved so many of the costumes in Rogue One. Okay, I'm going to have to think about this less well-known Star Wars prop that I want to get my hands on. Look, I've always wanted to build a 1-to-1 scale land speeder and just drive it around. Like, there's this footage of Joe Johnston and some other model maker down in LA on the first Star Wars driving around one of the land speeders. Dude, I love that. I love that vehicle. I have always wanted to build a mouse droid. It's a pretty straightforward and simple build. Yeah, I may have a more specific answer. It's the less well-known aspect. I'm not sure how many Star Wars props that are super esoteric I have like wrapped my head around. I've always wanted to make a probe droid, an Imperial probe droid from Empire. Simona asks, what do you think Star Wars can teach us in these trying times? Well, the loveliest thing that has come about culturally in the past 20 years is the recognition that Star Wars is just, well, maybe it's not just a recent thing. It feels recent to me, but that could just be because I wasn't paying attention. But the clarity that Star Wars is a dystopic fantasy as opposed to Star Trek, which is utopic science fiction. Two completely different genres. You know, Star Wars raises some really interesting questions about order and the cost of it. Does it have any lessons in these trying times? I mean, it's pretty straightforward. You know, the Rebel Alliance is a scrappy team of can-do people working together, not easily, not trivial. You know, it's difficult to work together, especially in disparate groups. Star Wars exemplifies that, but also that the rewards are myriad. That is, look, I just was watching Rogue One again this weekend. Here is a potentially controversial opinion, but I think Rogue One might be my favorite of all of the Star Wars films right now. It is, yeah. It feels like, for me, watching it this weekend, and again, I think of Empire as like one of the greatest movies ever made. And I was watching Rogue One this weekend, and I was thinking, man, I could just watch this movie anytime. I could watch it all the way through, or any part of it anytime. I really love this movie. I love its pacing. I love all the characters. K2SO. It is amazing how frequently the Star Wars universe is able to make robots really interesting and awesome characters and utilize some of the limitations of being a robot as part of the character development. You know, I remember when Episode 7 was about to come out and we all saw the footage of BB-8, and you know, I was thinking, yeah, good luck trying to make something as cute as R2-D2. Like, that's ever going to happen. And lo, they went and did it. Now, I mean, part of this is like, you know, it's got some of the greatest designers in the world, Doug Chang, sound designers like Ben Burt. You know, this is institutional knowledge. Like, these folks understand this stuff better than anybody else in the world. This video was made possible by Tested Channel Membership. Click join below to learn more about this channel membership. It's a brand new way for you to support us, interact with us, and to help us make the great content that you love to watch and that we so dearly love to make.